All right, so there's a lot that I want to talk about in this video, from the Oakland Roots playing at the Coliseum to the Open Cup getting a new TV deal. There are big teams coming to the USL to have international friendlies, but what do these international friendlies really do? These are just some of the topics that I want to cover in this video. But before we do, if you're a fan of the USL, please give this video a like because it really helps with the algorithm so that we could get more exposure out there. Okay, so the Roots playing at the Coliseum was going to be a very special night because today was opening day for baseball and the Oakland A's no longer exist. So the Oakland Roots are the last men's professional team in Oakland. And throughout the offseason, when it was announced that the Oakland Roots were going to play at the Coliseum, I was one of those people that thought this was not going to work out because, I mean, obviously people weren't showing up to the A's game. So it kind of felt like Oakland sports teams, sport enthusiasts were dying out. But man, was I wrong, because people showed out. And I got to give a lot of credit to Oakland because they advertised this well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I had seen that for a brief time you could buy tickets to this game for like $3, $314 I think. But yeah, that's just smart marketing. When it was announced that they were going to play there, you kind of have to think, how are you going to fill up all these people? And so you have to think creatively. But man, it's good to see that people showed out. And then they also got to play in front of those tribute jerseys that they wore, the Oakland A's tribute. I mean, that was just genius from Charlie as well to develop a jersey like that. But more than 26,000 fans showed up to this game. It seemed like it was very special. It seemed like a very good time. And the first goal at the Coliseum for the Oakland Roots did not disappoint as well because it was a bicycle kick. A bicycle kick at the Coliseum in front of those fans. I can only imagine as a player what that must feel like. And it looked like it was a good time. You had the wave at the Coliseum. I guarantee that this will be something that Oakland Roots fans are going to cherish with them for a while. Oakland Roots players are going to cherish with them for a while. Unfortunately, they did not get the win. They lost 2-1 to San Antonio, and that actually takes Oakland 0-3 at the start of the season. And then I saw things online that people were saying that the chant, the Spanish chant, was being yelled at the game, and there was a caution on the billboard that if it continued, they were going to stop the game or whatever. But I don't know. People have to understand this is just a deeper issue in society, I guess, that there's no respect. It kind of sucks that it's in the Latin community. I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to be known. Like, I don't want that to be stuck at in the Latin culture. Like, every time they go to a soccer game, this is what they're going to do. I'm wearing the Mexico jersey, and the same thing for the Nations League. They kept doing that, and it just sucks because I feel like people think of the Mexican culture, and you're going to think of that at a soccer game. And but it's a deeper issue. It's a deeper issue that there's no respect anymore. There's no respect for authority in our society right now. Besides all of those things, I'm sure that was a great night for Oakland. It was the second largest crowd in USL history, which only shows you that USL specifically is growing in the US, and if done properly, people will show up. People will show up to games. And so there is a market there. We have to realize how to get those people out. And I mean, the league is growing. The USL is growing. I've said that time and time again. And so this just helped. And hopefully they're able to continue through this growth throughout the league to have people show up to the games. Hopefully it wasn't just a one and done, and people will still want to go to these games, and you're not going to have a huge stadium with pretty much no one being at the game. But a way to get more engagement is CBS and the US Open Cup announcing a 2-year partnership. And guys, that is going to be incredible because now you're going to have more games, more exposure of the USL, of course, because teams are going to be competing, and coverage doesn't start until the 3rd round. But I thought of this. The MLS tried to get rid of the Open Cup. The MLS said, okay, we're done with this. We're going to try to focus on our own thing. And so they pretty much, in essence, try to throw out the trash, right? One man's trash is another man's treasure. They said, we're done with this. They probably thought that no one was going to show up, or that this wasn't going to, people were just going to flock to them, flock to their competition because they're number one, right? The USL has done everything right or everything opposite of what the MLS is doing. And it's great to see, like, they're picking up the slack. Whatever the MLS is like, nah, we don't need this anymore, it's just benefiting the USL. You know, the whole Division 1 announcement, promotion and relegation, and now the Open Cup. I know that isn't strictly the USL, but the Open Cup is now going to get potentially a broader, bigger audience. And so when these things happen, I really wonder if the MLS is thinking, like, what did we do? What is happening to us? I really hope that this is just going to bring more exposure to the USL. I hope that people will say, oh, there's a team here that I didn't realize, or there's a team near me that I can go cheer on. And with the MLS saying we didn't want to do this anymore, the USL has shown, like, no, we take this literally. And they also made their own competition, the USL Jägermeister Cup, but they didn't throw away the Open Cup after doing that. They still wanted to compete in the Open Cup. And so it's great to see these partnerships happening. CBS, I think, really wants to be a soccer network, and they're doing all the right things, especially with the World Cup happening next year. So I I think this exposure is just going to be better. It's going to help out the league. I think this is just going to be a win, another win scenario for the USL. But it isn't just these main networks that are doing work that are trying to help the USL grow or bringing more exposure. There's also other content creators. And I have to give a quick shout out to the Backstick podcast. It's my favorite podcast out right now, especially because they focus on USL players. They're more in the USL League One, but man, I'm a fan. Every Tuesday, I can't wait for the episode to drop and I listen. And so if you want to get more USL content and kind of see the players' perspective on things or what they have to go through behind the scenes, especially as a fan, you kind of have a certain mentality on players and just kind of think like, oh, it's an easy process. But no, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes. So these guys do a great job interviewing players and getting their stories out there. So yeah, give them a listen. I'm sure you will not be disappointed. But yeah, there's also international friendlies happening. I just saw that Louisville announced that Eintracht Frankfurt is going to come play a friendly, and then CD Las Palmas is going to come play against San Antonio FC, which that game might be a very impressive game because San Antonio is doing very well right now. But just overall with the international friendlies, I think that's great, right? These teams, these big European teams are coming and looking at the USL and saying, hey, let's compete. Let's get these matches done. And so in one aspect, that's a good thing, right? You're getting more exposure of the USL. They're looking at the USL and they're saying, hey, we can do something here. But on the other aspect, I can't help but think like, what is this good for? Besides this being like a business deal, because the only way that teams really make money is if you have home games, right? Because then you're bringing an audience, you're bringing fans, you're selling tickets, you're selling concessions, apparel as well. That's the main reason on how teams are able to make their money, right? You have people go to your stadium to watch a game. So they need eyeballs and they bring these big teams, obviously. But I have seen it where they bring opposing teams and the fans are wearing those teams' jerseys instead of their own home team apparel. And so I asked myself, what is the point of this? You're just getting more eyeballs for the opposing team. And I don't think that's right. I think you should support your local club. It doesn't matter who they face. It doesn't matter if Real Madrid comes or Barcelona, Arsenal, Man City. It doesn't matter. You should be supporting your own club, your team. And so it's kind of discouraging when I do see that. And then I also ask myself, like, these international friendlies, is the club that your local club, are they just kind of like the sparring partner of the actual boxer? You know, they don't really get recognition, or because they're big clubs, they're top European clubs, and they're doing international friendlies. And a lot of times they bring like the bench players or players that really have to make a name for themselves to show their head coaches like they belong on the squad. That's a lot of the reason why these big clubs come over here, and then to make a quick buck as well. But still, like, I don't know. So I'm kind of torn on if it's a good idea or a bad idea to have international friendlies with these top clubs. I totally understand the reason. Like I said, it's a business reason. I think I would just be more on board if I saw, for example, if I saw the stadium full of Lou City fans and that was it. Like, it's Lou City and just like a tiny section of Frankfurt. Like, it would have to be like overwhelmingly Lou City. And maybe they have. Last year, I could be wrong, right? Maybe I saw the wrong images or whatnot. But yeah, that's just my thought on it. I would love to know what you guys think about this, all of this news happening. Let me know in the comments down below. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you all on the next one.